deep into the latest developments at the intersection of law, technology, and artificial intelligence. Hey there, podcast fam. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the James Urrutia Show. I'm your host, James Urrutia, and today we've got a jam-packed show lined up for you. So grab your headphones and let's jump right in. All right. Our first story comes from the realm of legal battles and tech giants. It seems like there's a showdown brewing between news organizations and OpenAI over the use of copyrighted material to train AI. The Intercept, Raw Story, and Alternet have filed lawsuits against OpenAI alleging misuse of their articles to train ChatGPT, the popular AI chatbot. It's a classic monetary case of copyright infringement, with the news outlets demanding both monetary and copyright infringement damages. And the halt, which would be an injunction to the unauthorized use of their content. Makes sense to me. But that's not all, folks. Apple, as we all know, the tech titan known for its innovative products, is gearing up to make waves in the AI arena as well. CEO Tim Cook recently announced plans to reveal more about Apple's use of generative AI later this year. With rivals like Microsoft and Google already deep in the game, Apple is stepping up its AI efforts, promising transformative opportunities for users in productivity and problem solving. But with shareholders pushing for more transparency on AI ethics, it seems Apple's AI journey won't be without its own challenges. Shifting gear to the legal landscape, we've got a fascinating story about a new venture called Bench IQ. Bench IQ was funded by legal tech entrepreneur and former Kirkland & Ellis partner. I love that there's an attorney involved in this, Jeffrey Gentleman. Bench IQ is promising to revolutionize how lawyers understand judges' thinking. Using cutting-edge AI technology, Bench IQ claims to offer comprehensive insights into the decision-making patterns of judges, helping lawyers tailor their arguments and improve outcomes in courtrooms. It could be a game changer in the legal world and all of our pursuit of justice. As we wrap up today's episode, it's clear that the intersection of law and AI is a dynamic and evolving landscape, from copyright disputes to AI disclosures and predictive analytics. The implications are far-reaching and complex, but one thing's for sure: as technology continues to advance, so too will the opportunities and challenges it presents. In our day-to-day work right now, we're using AI, and the potential to further use AI is exponential. The case management software that we currently use has the ability to use AI, and it is helping write demands. It is helping us do legal research. One important tool that we're also using, it allows us to upload all of our pleadings and discovery materials and evidence. And with the push of a button, the AI program will read, analyze, and then most importantly, summarize the documents and the contents of those pleadings. My first use with ChatGPT in trying to help me create scripts, do legal research, it was the first version of ChatGPT, whatever that was, and it was making up cases, literally making up cases. So luckily I had the wherewithal to fact check any case that ChatGPT cited, and in doing that, every single one of them, I was unable to find the citation. So ChatGPT not only was creating fake cases, literally it was creating fake citations, and it was creating fake summaries of cases. Extremely damaging. There was a story last year about an attorney who used ChatGPT for legal research and did not do any fact checking of the cases or the summaries of cases that ChatGPT spit out, and submitted that work to the court as if it was real cases and real legal precedents, and he was sanctioned and got in trouble, and it became an embarrassing moment for him. And that was just, along with my own experience with ChatGPT creating fake case citations And fake summaries. That's what's crazy to me. As I read the printouts, they read like real cases, and the case citations looked real. There was no way to tell by the case citation that it wasn't a case. It looked incredibly real, as if you would see in any other brief or law review article, or pleading with the court order, etc. But because ChatGPT was brand new and I didn't trust it, kept doing the research on these cases and searching for them, and they did not exist. And so for attorneys to be submitting that kind of work to a judge, I mean, really, when we're signing our name to motion work and to pleadings that get submitted to the court, we're signing that the cases we cite to are real, that we've looked them up, that we're familiar with the case law, and that we're prepared to argue the merits of those cases. And so for an attorney to submit that work without having done that is extremely shameful. And hopefully attorneys aren't doing that. I get especially worried for law students and young attorneys. But as the AI gets better and better, and as legal cases are becoming part of the database that AI is using, it will be extremely, extremely helpful. That program that we use right now to read and summarize our files, it also can do basic legal research, and that program is way better. I haven't found errors like I did before. Now, it's not always spitting out proper relevant cases. It's doing its best to give us relevant cases, but at least it's not creating fake cases, creating fake summaries. I imagine that in the very near future, we will be able to, for example, the other side, opponent, files a motion, includes all this case law. I assume in the very near future, I'll be able to upload that motion into my case management software, and basically AI will give me a draft of an opposition. What I'm really excited about is the ability for AI to search the country for relevant case law. That one of the most time-consuming aspects of an attorney's job, especially when it comes to litigation and trial, is finding relevant cases in other jurisdictions that we would call or would be persuasive authority to our judges. And where I practice, primarily in Nevada, we don't have a large case base of precedent, of legal precedent. Nevada for a very long time only had one appellate court, the Nevada Supreme Court, and because of that, they were limited in the amount of opinions they could write just by sheer labor, and we're a newer state. And so the amount of legal precedent that the Nevada Supreme Court could put out was limited for many years. Now, I don't think it's been 10 years yet, but it's probably getting close to 10 years. We do now have a second appellate court, a middle appellate court, which is helping take that workload off of the Nevada Supreme Court, which was the most worked court in the country, I believe. They had the most cases per judge assigned to it for a very long time. And the appellate court of Nevada, the middle court, has taken off a fair amount of that load and is helping create more case law, more legal precedent for us to rely on. But in Nevada, because of our limited legal precedent basis or foundation or kind of database of legal precedent, we end up as attorneys, especially when we're trying to come up with creative arguments, especially when there's novel issues that the Nevada Supreme Court has not addressed in our particular factual circumstance, we need to spend time looking at other jurisdictions and trying to find relevant case law that may be persuasive to the judges on our case. And so we end up relying a lot on California. They have a wider database of legal precedent that we can rely on. A lot of our jurisprudence in Nevada is based partly on California case law over the years, although we do have our judiciary is strong and willing to separate itself from the California jurisprudence. However, we end up relying on other states, Utah, Arizona, California, Colorado, the states around us, that becomes very relevant and persuasive authority. And what I am really excited about, that is the hardest research to do for multiple reasons. One, because you're not as familiar with the legal precedent that's occurred in other states. You're not practicing there. You're not researching those cases. You don't have a incentive to be up to date on all the cases in these other states, no matter how hard you tried. There's just too much. And there's a wide variety of topics and issues and factual circumstances. It's just almost impossible. But that is what excites me. The research that I would generally love to do, looking nationwide for relevant case law that could help my judge understand the implications of their decision in my specific circumstance. AI in the very near future will be able to do that research for me. I'm very excited about that. And even at a minimum, if it gave us a starting point to do that research, if it could identify cases very quickly. So I imagine the big legal research programs, Westlaw, LexisNexis, I imagine they're actively working on important AI protocols and AI generative learning to help us search and define relevant case law around the country. They already do a pretty damn good job overall, but if we can just push a button, if we could upload a motion, upload an opposition, upload a pleading, and have AI literally spit out what we want and what their recommendation is, incredible. When you talk about Bench IQ and what they're trying to do, well, they're not just incorporating that legal research, they're incorporating judicial what would the word be? Judicial habits, I would say, or judicial preferences. When you start talking about how AI could start analyzing judges and we start applying that to the research, now we're talking about crafting not only the best legal argument, but also the most persuasive argument for a specific judge. That sounds incredible. And I can give just a quick example. I was in a hearing today, and we, from prior experience with a judge, there was a phrase that we know he liked, and there was a legal principle we know that he liked, that I had personally learned from him in the past. And so today it was relevant to my arguments, used that terminology, and boom, that judge, you could see it in his eyes. He cut me off and started talking about that legal principle. He got excited. He loved that I said it. And I was only able to do that because I was familiar with that judge's affinity or affinity, love for that legal principle and that terminology. And so I was able to weave that into my argument in an effort to persuade him to go my way. And that is something that trial attorneys should be actively looking to do. And so if Bench IQ or other AIs are able to help us identify judges, I mean, we're going to be appearing in front of new judges all the time, all across the country, especially as we try cases in other jurisdictions that we don't normally practice in. Love the possibilities there. So holy cow, what a topic. I think we'll be talking about this a lot. I've talked about it in the past, and this is the future. And there's no question that this is only going to advance our ability as attorneys, as trial attorneys. Fingers crossed we never get replaced by robots who have all this AI inside of them. But maybe one day there will be a company that just has robots that can appear in court with software, with AI software attached to it. And yeah, you can imagine a scenario where a client waives a real person for a robot. So I can imagine that as well. Now, will the courts allow it? I think from a jury perspective, I would imagine jurors over time will get more and more comfortable with robots making legal arguments. And so it's more on the judiciary and the bars, state bars, to allow that. Will state bars be giving bar licenses to companies in general? Will they be giving licenses to AI in particular, or specific robots? Fun to think about. Hopefully we're still 10 to 20 years away from that. But definitely you could see a future where that's possible. So until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep pushing the boundaries of all that's possible. This is James Urrutia signing off. Thank you again for checking in on the James Urrutia Show.